2 out of 3 voters think the Conservative Liberal Democrat coalition government is a bad thing. Well, that's quite a bad thing if you're one of the members of Parliament or the ministers even in that coalition government. Even worse for the Liberal Democrats, the Conservatives gained seats in last week's local government elections in England, but the Liberal Democrats lost hundreds. I think more than 800. I have the figures here somewhere. It's been a year of living dangerously. For the Lib Dems, you'll remember the general election campaign, everyone was agreeing with Nick, and for a moment, though all too brief, he'll no doubt think, Vince Cable's boss, Nick Clegg, seemed like the coming man of British politics. Now, well, he looks like a sad state of affairs, and is frequently to be found lamenting the opprobrium in which he appears to be held now by a very significant number of people in the country. There are ministers in the government, I can tell you, limbering up to make their exit. Not that any of them have told me they wouldn't, but I'm an expert on these things. I know a minister limbering up to leave when I see one. And I'm going to advise my first guest that, in fact, he'd be better to make that exit first, because he was, and could be again, one of the most popular politicians in Britain. Of course, he is the Business Secretary, Vince Cable, and we'll be talking to him not just about the year of living dangerously, but about the good news that he had this week when the Press Complaints Commission found in his favour, in the favour of the Liberal Democrats in general, about the Daily Telegraph's duping of them, hoaxing of them, for the purposes of a fishing expedition for really not terribly substantial journalistic prizes. In fact, the one substantial journalistic prize that came from the whole enterprise, namely Mr. Cable's comments about Rupert Murdoch, were not actually used by the Daily Telegraph, presumably because the Daily Telegraph agreed with them. But they were, of course, aired somewhere else, and that led to Vince losing that gig and is no longer sitting in on the B-Sky B affair.